so much for being here. We know it's a little tight. I didn't know how many people to expect, and you guys exceeded my expectation. I appreciate that. My name is Zach. I'm the Director of Youth Ministries here. Or we just changed our titles, I think.
Yes.
So I'm...
Youth Ministry.
I tried to get them to call me the Minister of Awesome, but they didn't like that idea. So I think I'm the, what is it? Minister of Youth? Alright, it didn't change that much. You know who I am. So, thanks so much for being here. I'll pray, and then we can jump into the meeting really quick. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Good gracious God, we give you thanks for today. We give you thanks for all of these people and their investment in the lives of our students at Holy Cross. Lord, we pray that this meeting be fruitful, that your Spirit enter this room and transform our hearts, Lord. We ask all in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so I promise this meeting is going to be quick because I like quick meetings and I don't want to waste your time. So, I am this year kind of new to being in charge of our confirmation ministries. Prior to this year, I was in charge of our high school ministries and our young adult ministries, so this is really my first go at this. So if you've never been to one of these meetings before and you've been a mentor before, this is actually the very first time that we've sat and done an orientation meeting. So I'm really excited that all of you are here, and that means that this is a good investment of our time into your time. So thanks so much for being here. This is what I need you to know. If you want to take notes about this meeting, there is a page in your booklet. It's one of the last few pages. It says notes page or Lenten Mentor notes page. Just make use of that. If you feel like this book, treat it as your own. It is yours. It is not mine anymore. So however you want to write in it or use it, that is perfectly fine with me, as long as you know where it is and you don't lose it. Now, if you do lose these books, that is okay, because we have extras, but don't lose it on purpose, please. So the purpose of this Lenten mentoring program is this. A few years ago, we decided to add this mentoring program during the season of Lent for our confirmation ministries. That's for our 7th and 8th grade students. We did it for a couple purposes. One, we believe that it's really important that other adults are in the lives of the students, not just the parents. At Holy Cross, in our confirmation ministry, we do our small group ministry. So our kids do large group, and then they go small group. So typically they have 1 or 2 small group leaders in there that lead them throughout the school year for 2 years. But during the season of Lent, we ask mentors to come into their lives. There are a couple studies out there by an organization called Vibrant Faith, another organization called Fuller Youth Institute. They found that for a young person to grab hold of their faith throughout their formative years, that they need at least 5 adults outside of their parents to invest in their lives. So we believe in our small group ministry. We do in our confirmation ministry, we invest 1 or 2 people in their lives. You, my friends, thanks so much for saying yes to this. You have also said yes to being one of those 5, at least in this time in their lives. So, the second reason is we believe strongly in intergenerational ministry as well, where some of you are grandparents, some of you are aunts and uncles, some of you don't even know the student that you're meeting with. We believe strongly in the idea of intergenerational ministry. So, we don't want students to meet with other students necessarily. If they are, that's okay, but we really want them to be influenced by other people, other adults in our church and in their lives. We started this about 3 years ago, like I said, and it has been really fruitful. And in fact, we love our Lenten Wednesday nights. I mean, it's crazy. We have students popping in and mentors, and this. I've just been humbled by the whole thing. You guys do such a wonderful job, and I do nothing, and it happens, and students are growing in their faith left and right. And for the last 3 years, it's been really a great addition to our ministry, so I can't thank you enough. This is how it works. 3 things that I need you to know. First thing, during Lent, we'd like you to meet with your student on a consistent basis. Starting next week, and for the following 4 or 5 weeks after that, we ask that you meet with your student once a week for roughly a half hour. So every single week, please plan on spending a half hour with them. That can be either before or after a worship service here at Holy Cross. Our worship services on Wednesday nights are 5 and 7 p.m. So if you want to meet with them before, feel free. If you want to meet with them after, there'll be space for that. The only thing that we really ask for you to do is meet on site, if at all possible. This, as you can tell, is kind of crazy with so many kids moving and adults moving, and for us it's just a safety issue. For for you to be in our church, in a space where it's open and doesn't put you in a situation where you can get yourself into trouble. So all that we ask is that you meet on site on a regular basis, if at all possible. If you have to meet for whatever reason, this is for my friends who are meeting virtually, which is crazy now. We've been doing this for a couple of years too, like FaceTime and Skype and stuff. If you're meeting for whatever reason for a week virtually, totally cool. That's all right too. If you have to do that, please feel free to do that. The second thing that I need you to know is spend time in worship with your students. So either 5 or 7 p.m. we ask that you go to worship with your mentee and their family. Sit with them during worship and worship with them at 5 or 7 p.m. The third thing is that we just ask for you to be present, authentic, and affirming with the students throughout the process. So that means, one, when you're here, that you're present with them, that you're not worried about like what's on your phone, and that a half hour is not a crazy amount of time for you to spend investing in the lives of these kids. The second thing is that there are going to be topics and discussion points that you're going to be walking through with these kids that might be a little like, oh, what does that mean? And they might ask, hey, what do you think about this? Just that you're authentic in that relationship with them, that you're being open and willing to discuss the topic at hand. And the third thing is to be affirming, so that when you're with them, you're holding them up, that you're allowing space for there to be difficult conversations and topics that kind of are a little murky to walk through, that you just allow that to happen, that you allow space for them to walk through these somewhat difficult discussions. Not all of them are difficult, I want to rest assured, but some of them might bring up things that cause them to think like, oh, that's a little strange, and might want to push through. And as mentors, it's really your job to be like, oh, let's process that just a little bit more. Let's take that just a little bit further, because in some places, that's the point where they need to get to. So that you as mentors, you're in that position to affirm them and hold them up in the time. I want to draw your attention to the book. This says Zach's copy. You know whose book this is, right? You can feel free to title your book however you want, draw on it, make sure you know whose book is what. So I just want to walk you through the book real quick. This devotion guide is a really pick up and go. We try to make it as simple as possible so that you don't really have to do any prep coming in other than potentially just looking through the book to see what is coming. On the third page, there's a list of the discussion points. Some of you might say this to me, Zach, there are 15 topics to discuss. How do you expect us to do that in 5 times if you only give us a half hour? I've already thought of this question. My friend Amanda was like, Zach, did you know there are 15? I was like, yes, man, I know there are 15. That's Amanda over there. I said, yeah, man, I know. And the reason why we did this was this. Because we want you to kind of customize it to the student. We want you to be able to bring up topics that might be of interest to the student, because some of them might want to talk about themselves and how they process faith. Some of them might want to talk about leadership. Some of them want to have nothing to do with leadership. So we want you to be able to customize your experience with them. We've given you 15 experiences, 15 devotions, and basically we'd say 1 per session would probably be okay. Now some of your kids, 7th grade boys, they're really good at this. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So if that's the case, now we've given you a little bit more material to work with as you walk through the process, that you're not worried about a 7th grade boy being like, yes, no, to get through it as fast as possible. We're hoping, like I said, to work through a half hour of time, and we believe that we've given you enough to fill a half hour, at least for 5 sessions. Don't feel like you have to do all of them. For our 8th grade friends, this is a little bit different. For our 7th grade friends, we might come back to this book next year. In the front of the book, there is a meeting log that we ask you to fill out. I don't need to necessarily see this, but this is more of accountability just for you, to be able to say, which session are we on? If you need to catch up on any, you kind of know where you are. Kind of also allows you to say, which one did we talk about last time? At the end of the book, sorry, I know I'm running through this real quick. At the end of the book, the last 4 pages, there's kind of a covenant or a promise that you're going to make with the student. And that the first time that you meet with them, if you read through that, you work through that, and you say, hey, let's take a look at this. What are we committing ourselves to? It's on this page, sorry. So that you kind of read through that and you say, what is our relationship? What is our time together supposed to be about? That's kind of what the covenant is all about. And if at the bottom of that, you can sign that with the student. You sign it and then have the parent sign it. That's just making a promise together to walk through this season of Lent using this book. And I described the table of contents in the front. I just want to walk you through what a session might look like. If you want to turn, I know I'm flipping a lot here, but if you want to turn to devotion number 1, it's called Trust. And I can kind of describe to you what to expect on a week-to-week basis using this guide. So as you see, there are 3 sections, deep, deeper, and deepest. And at the very bottom, there is a scripture passage, both from the NRSV and from the Message. If you were me, if I were you, I would say this. At the beginning of every time you get together, start with a word of prayer. Just say, hey, Lord, we welcome you in this place. Please work through us. Whatever you want to say, however you want to pray, make it happen. Then I would read one of the scripture passages on the bottom, just to kind of set the tone. So the scripture is to point you toward what the topic is about. And then the first section up there is called Deep. So Deep is really just an icebreaker section, just to kind of set the mood of what the topic's all about. Some of them might be silly questions, some of them might be fun questions. They're just to help you break the ice, so to speak, with the topic. The second topic, or the second part of it, is called Deeper. It kind of starts, this isn't crazy, guys. You go a little bit deeper in the discussion, right? Like you're just saying, okay, we're feeling this out. How do you feel about this? How does God feel about this? Where is God in the discussion here? And the final thing is really to bring it home, to bring it back to the deepest part, to make it true for them in their lives, for them to start asking questions about how this is relevant in their lives. How is this faith thing relevant in their lives? And each of those, each of the devotions has that deeper, and deepest aspect to it, to help them process the topic at hand. This book is really easy to pick up and go. And that was my promise to you as the mentor, for our small group leaders, for the parents. I want to make this as simple as I can for you, so that this isn't that much of a commitment over and above whatever that you might think that this might have been. It literally is, you show up on Wednesday, you go to worship, you pick up this book, and you sit down for a half hour and have a discussion with a student. That's it. That's the whole thing. And what I believe what will happen is you will become one of those 5 people in their lives that you're investing in, that you're leaning into their lives, that you're showing your faith, and you're giving them an idea of what faith looks like as you grow up. Because it's 7th and 8th graders, and some of them are here in the room, like, this is tough stuff. We try to make it as easy to talk about as possible, because we know it's tough. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys in the whole scope of our program. I can't do as much as I want to do with our students, because we have 80 some odd students in our confirmation program. The only way that we can minister to them effectively is through people like you. So please, please, please know how important that you are, and how much we appreciate your investment in this, into the student, into our program. That wasn't a whole long time. Anybody have questions? I'd love to talk about questions, comments. Yeah, go ahead.
Are we answering these in writing, or is it just a discussion?
It's just a discussion. You can certainly write, like I said, if you want to use this as kind of a notepad, please do so.
Well, in the past years, we went through, we did it differently the last 2.
Yep.
And it was answering questions and handing that in.
Yep. So the only thing that I would really like to have is the front page, that log page at the very end. You can keep the book. I don't need the book back, but just to see that you logged them, because we are tracking them more than ever before. We know if they're here on Wednesdays. We know where they are when they come here on Wednesdays, what service they're at. So we are more aware of if they're here. The investment is up to the families. It's up to you guys as mentors. They can literally get away with meeting one time. But we believe that we've created a process for them to really walk through their faith lives in a different way that helps them and their families, and really helps you guys as mentors in a different way. So we're not holding them to the fire, so to speak. But we believe in this program so much that it works, and it does what we're hoping for it to do. So, good question. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Are the kids aware of the different devotions that are in here, the different topics of devotion? Because there's more than we need, like you said.
Yep.
And who picks them then? Are the kids aware of what's going on?
It's totally up to you guys. As a partnership, whether you see like, oh, hey, you talked about this last week, there's a topic in here that deals with personal faith. Like, then I say you customize it, but it's really a conversation that the two of you have. Like, in the beginning, at the very first session, you might say, hey, there are 15 sessions. Which ones would interest you the most? That's how I would probably approach it. But you might say, hey, you were talking about this last week, and there's a session just for that. So it's really up to you guys to customize it. And I would lean heavily on what they think and what they want to talk about. Yeah.
So that means they don't have a copy of this?
Correct.
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, you guys are the only ones with the copies of it. Like the mentors have copies of it. The students will not have copies of it because they will lose it. And
So you need to bring it on Wednesday.
yeah. So please
Even in the car.
please bring it. However, what I will do, and we haven't talked about this yet, but we will send it out via email. It will be a Google Doc for you to download and access. So for instance, if you have a smartphone, you go on your iPhone, you go, oh hey, I forgot my devotion tonight, but Zach did send it to us. Boop, 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 beep, boop. It'll come up. Okay, so all my friends watching online, they will have access to that as well. So yeah.
Is that what you're referring to on the page under devotionals?
Sorry, which page are you
Well, they're not covered.
Yeah.
It says extra mentoring devotionals will be located at.
Yep. So in the back of the church there, as you walk in, we will have extra books. So for whatever reason, if you forget your book that night, and like, I really want a book and I don't have a smartphone and I don't want to look on my phone, we will have extra books. Yes.
Okay.
So that'll be in the back of the church.
And then they sign in where?
They will. We have our iPads in the back of the church there too. They know about that and they're familiar with that. You won't have to help them much on that.
Okay.
They're smarter than I am on that kind of stuff. They're just like,
And us.
and they go, and you're like, what? That was like 2 seconds. How did you do that in 2 seconds? But yeah. So there will be extra books available to you every single week. Yeah.
Okay, the questions here, for instance, are we supposed to share our answers and theirs?
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I would love for that to happen. It's a discussion. It's not like a one-sided discussion. I want you to be able to be honest with them, be authentic with them. If you go, oh yeah, this is happened to me. This is my opinion on this. I want you to take part in the discussion. I don't want it just to be a one-sided thing. That's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. Feel free to share as much or as little or as appropriateness. You also have to understand they're like 12, 13, 14-year-old minds. Like they can't handle a ton of stuff. Don't feel like this is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for them to grow, and for them. Yeah, I don't want you like thinking this is a big like psychiatrist with a 13-year-old. If that is the case, come to me. Let me know. I will go get Pastor Meredith, and I'm like, Pastor, this. No, if we want you to share as much relevant and appropriate information as possible. And we want this to be a discussion. Thanks for bringing that up. Zach, my mentor came to me and they told me weird things. Who was your mentor? Everything will be alright. Great. Does anybody have anything else? Any other questions? Yeah, man.
In the confirmation process, is this the final step, or is there another commitment or form or something, or?
Sure. So this is just a part of the process. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what we do here at Holy Cross, so throughout the school year we meet on Wednesday nights, and they walk through our worship. They walk through confirmation or student-led worship, and this is just a part of the process. It's 6 weeks within the scope of the year, and it's just another opportunity for them to walk in their faith in a different way. So it's not like a final step. They don't get like the tassel goes over. No, it's just like it's just another thing for them to do. That's a good question. Thanks so much.
This is a 2-year.
It could be. So what Jeff asked is it a 2-year commitment for 8th grade friends? If you did this last year, then yes, it is a 2-year commitment, but it didn't necessarily have to be the same mentor this year. It is cool if it's a 2-year thing. It kind of creates consistency within them, but it has been totally up to them to choose who they wanted to walk with in this process. So if you weren't chosen last year for your 8th grader, congrats. They like you more. No. But and if they don't choose you next year, if you're a 7th grader, sorry. But yeah, it's a commitment for these 6 weeks, and typically it is a next year they might ask you again, or last year they asked you, but it doesn't have to be that way. Anything else? Amanda, am I forgetting anything?
No, you are not. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Like I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. This is awesome to have you commit to walking with your neighbors, your friends, somebody you just met from church, your grandchild, your niece, your nephew, in this journey. And so we thank you for that. I know that the staff and leadership here is praying for you on that journey as well. There are a couple of people who said, there's a Wednesday night and I can't make it, what do we do? Yeah. One of my suggestions was, what about on Sunday? There's lots of space around on Sunday. Different service times. We worship at 7:45, at 9, and at 10:30 on Sunday. So if you want to meet in the gathering space between services, that's another opportunity. If you just can't make it at sometimes Wednesday just doesn't work. So that's a great opportunity to be here as well.
Sure, thanks for putting that out. So if you can't meet on a Wednesday, don't feel like you're rushing from work. You're like, I can't get there. It's like, okay, you have 6 weeks to meet with them 5 times. We suggest strongly that you meet here on Wednesdays, either before or after worship, or if you can't do Wednesday, sometime around a Sunday service, or you can meet with them here on site. We know life is busy. We know life gets in the way. Don't feel like you have to do it every single week, like you have to be here every single week, but we ask that you walk with them in the season of Lent, and you meet with them 5 times for a half hour each time. That's it. Cool. You guys are great. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for investing in the lives of these kids. Your own faith serve the Lord, friends. We'll see you next week.